Hello YouTube family, Greg D here with TGN, and we are back for another DCUO discussion video. And today I'm going to be covering a topic that I've been getting several questions about over the last week or so, and that is, post stats revamp, what is the best weapon to use for... I've been getting a lot of questions about, like, what's the best weapon to use for this power? What's the best weapon to use for healer? What's the best... So what we're going to do is we're going to go over what I think, granted this is just my opinion, what I believe are the best weapons for each role, and go over some weapon mastery ideas, because with the stats revamp, and if you do in fact use your weapon, weapon mastery is the way to go at this point. Before the stats revamp you could get away without using weapon mastery, but now weapon mastery is pretty important if you do in fact use a weapon. So if you do use a super powered loadout for any of your powers, whatever power it is, you don't really need to use weapon. It doesn't matter what you use. You can use whatever you want. But I would suggest for let me go in here real quick. So what I would suggest for healers or any type of ranged weapon, so you can use hand blaster, you can use bow, you can use rifle, because obviously you don't, as being a healer, you don't need to be in the action. You don't need to be in a melee position. You want to be back, making sure that everybody's getting healed, kind of staying out of the way of your tank, of your DPSs. So anything ranged will work. Now, obviously, on the opposite end of that spectrum, if you're a tank, you want to use something that's a melee weapon. So, one-handed, martial arts, shield, brawling, things of that nature. Now, controller, you can kind of use like a medium ranged weapon, because you can either go ranged, or you can kind of get yourself in there a little bit and use medium range weapons. So personally, for controller, I'd probably use something like dual pistol, dual wield, possibly rifle, maybe even staff. But I probably would, if it were me and if I was going to be a controller, I probably would go with dual pistol. So keep that in mind. Now, as far as DPSing is concerned, once again, depending on whether you have like a melee type, if you're trying to get like a melee loadout. Now, if you're using like, if you are a melee DPS, more than likely you're going to have a super powered loadout. So once again, it doesn't matter what kind of weapon you use. But as far as like being in a medium or long range situation, as far as DPSing is concerned, my favorites are two-handed. I love two-handed. Rifle's a good one. Hand blaster is another top one. Now, I'll probably make another video discussing what are the best weapon masteries. We'll go over that, but this should just give you a brief overview of what you should use regarding... so basically, like, this discussion will take powers out of the equation. You want to make sure that you have a weapon based on your role, not your power. Like I said, if you have a super powered loadout, whether you're DPS or healer or controller or whatever, doesn't matter what weapon you use. But as we said, if you're a healer, go something that's ranged. If you're a controller, do something that's medium, like a dual pistol, a dual wield, something of that nature. If you're a tank, obviously you want melee, so you can do dual wield there. One-handed, shield, brawling. If you're a DPS, you can go kind of medium to long range there too, so like hand blaster, two-handed, things that. So it doesn't matter if you're a sorcery DPS, or if you're an earth tank, or if you're a celestial healer. Doesn't matter. They're all going to be the same. Now, the great thing about the stats revamp, one of the better things about it, is the fact that we don't have to spend 40 points to get the weapon mastery. You only need to fill up all these couple points here. So obviously that doesn't take nearly as many skill points to get a weapon mastery, which is nice, because before you'd have to fill up an entire tree let's say hand blaster in this case, you'd have to fill up this entire tree, then you'd have to go over to the bow and fill that out, and before you know it, you're wasted 42 skill points. And if you don't have a lot of skill points, like as you see, I have like a decent amount, but for 100, if I have 142, if I have to take 42 to get the weapon mastery unlocked, obviously I only have 100 skill points left over, and that's really not going to help me. So that is a great thing as well. Like I said, weapon mastery probably is the way to go at this point, just if you do use a weapon, so just keep that in mind. But that should cover everything that I can possibly discuss as far as which weapon works for which role. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more. And until next time, see you soon.